All right, island lovers. Today we're diving deep into Okinawa day trips, especially those to the neighboring islands.
Yeah, those are popular.
You bet they are. We've got an awesome itinerary and a budget breakdown, all set to help you decide if a day trip is even doable.
Okay.
Plus, we're going to try to find the best month to go if you want to avoid the rain.
Gotta love those sunny days.
For sure. Okay, so our sources are painting this picture of Okinawa as like a subtropical paradise.
It is beautiful, that's for sure.
Right. And it's got this unique cultural blend like Japanese, Chinese, and Southeast Asian all mixed together.
It's really something special.
It really is. Then you add in those amazing beaches, that world-famous aquarium. It just seems like, I don't know, maybe too much to squeeze into a single day.
Yeah, that's the thing. When I look at this itinerary, even if we just focus on one island like Ishigaki or Miyakojima,
Yeah, just one.
it's a lot. I mean, think about the travel time, getting to Okinawa and back, and actually having time to enjoy each place.
All right.
A day trip, it kind of feels like we'd just be sprinting through paradise.
I hear you. Okay, so maybe we should shift gears here. Instead of a day trip, how about planning a multi-day island hopping adventure?
Now you're talking. That would give you time to soak it all in.
Exactly. Picture it.
Yeah.
Spending a few days on each island, really experiencing them, not just rushing through.
Yeah, like wandering through those hidden courtyards at Shuri Castle.
Oh, tell me more about Shuri Castle. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site, right?
It is. Really impressive.
Okay, back to your vision.
Right, so like I was saying, you could be wandering through Shuri Castle or snorkeling in those vibrant coral reefs off Miyakojima.
Okay, I'm sold.
Or just, sipping aomori cocktails as the sun sets over Ishigaki.
Oh, that sounds perfect. Okay, so multi-day trip it is.
Yeah.
But now the big question, when should we go to guarantee those sunny days?
That's the thing. Our sources don't really break down the weather month by month for each island.
Yeah, it's kind of a bummer.
But we know Okinawa has a subtropical climate, so we can make some educated guesses.
Let's hear them.
October usually offers a sweet spot. Typhoon season's winding down, temperatures are nice, and it doesn't rain as much.
Wait a minute, isn't October when those two big festivals
I
happen?
got it. The Shuri Castle Festival and the Naha Atsunahiki Festival.
I've heard they're amazing.
Oh, they are. The Shuri Castle Festival is like stepping back in time.
Wow.
They have these elaborate processions and traditional Ryukyu Kingdom performances. It's incredible.
I bet. What about the Naha Atsunahiki Festival? What's that one like?
Imagine thousands of people pulling this massive rope in a giant tug-of-war.
What?
Seriously.
Seriously. It's an incredible display of Okinawan culture and community.
Man, those festivals sound like a blast. Okay, so we're thinking multi-day island hopping, maybe in October. We've got to get those sunny days and those festivals. But our listener wants to know about day trips to the other islands, right?
Right.
What are some of the things we should point out about those? Well, for starters, there's Ishigaki Island. It's known for its beaches, especially Kabira Bay. They have these glass-bottom boat tours there.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, you can see all kinds of marine life without even getting wet. And if you like hiking, Mount Omoto gives you these amazing panoramic views of the whole island.
That sounds beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, what about Miyakojima? What's special about that island?
Miyakojima has some of the most gorgeous beaches in Japan, period. Like Yonaha Maihama Beach. It stretches for over 7 kilometers.
No way.
Way. And the coral reefs around Miyakojima are amazing for diving and snorkeling. So much colorful fish and marine life to see.
Wow, I can practically feel the sand in the sun already.
Yeah.
But hold on a sec. Wouldn't traveling between all these islands take up a lot of our precious vacation time?
That's a good point. Ferry travel times can be anywhere from 30 minutes to a few hours, depending on which islands you're going between.
So they'll definitely need to factor that in.
Definitely. But, think about it. Arriving at a new island, feeling that ocean breeze, seeing a totally different landscape.
Okay.
That journey is part of the adventure.
How do you think? All right, so multi-day island hopping in October, checking out Ishigaki and Miyakojima with their beaches and underwater wonders.
Yeah.
Now, for the reality check, how much is all this Okinawa magic going to cost?
Right, money talks. Well, our sources give us a general idea, but costs can vary a lot. It depends on your travel style,
Yeah, I guess so.
Like, are you looking for those fancy ocean view resorts?
Oh, I wish.
Well, if you are, be prepared to spend a bit more.
Makes sense.
But if you're cool with staying in cozy guest houses or hostels, you can do Okinawa on a budget.
So give us some numbers. What are we looking at here?
All right, let's break it down. If you're all about those luxury resorts, expect to pay anywhere from $450 to $900 per night.
Whoa.
Yeah. But if you go for a more mid-range experience, hotels will cost you something like $270 per night.
Okay, that's a better.
And for our budget travelers out there, guest houses and hostels can be as cheap as $80 to $45 a night.
Wow, that's a huge difference.
It is. So Okinawa really has something for everyone, no matter what your budget is.
I love that.
But remember, accommodation is just one part of it. You've got to factor in those yummy Okinawan meals, transportation, and all the fun activities.
Oh, right. Speaking of food, you mentioned goya champuru earlier, that stir fry with the bitter melon.
Yeah, have you ever tried it?
Can't say I have.
It's a classic Okinawan dish. Bitter melon, tofu, pork, veggies. It's a unique flavor, that's for sure.
Bitter melon, huh? Not sure about that. But, okay, so we've got accommodation, food. What about getting around? Should we take taxis, buses? What about those ferries between islands?
Ah, good question. Transportation can definitely add up, especially if you're island hopping.
So give us the lowdown. What's the best way to get around?
Taxis are convenient, but they'll cost you more.
Right.
Local buses are a better deal if you're on a budget. And then there are the ferries, of course, to get between those islands.
Right, the ferries.
Yeah, those will be another expense to think about.
Okay, so how do we take all these numbers and figure out a realistic daily budget? Help us out here.
Okay, let's do some quick math. Based on what we found, a reasonable daily budget for Okinawa could be anywhere from $45 to $180 per person. It really depends on your travel style and what you want to prioritize.
So basically, if you're a foodie who loves those fancy resorts, you might be spending closer to that $180 mark.
Exactly. But if you're happy with simpler meals and budget-friendly places to stay, you can definitely keep the costs down.
Okay, this is starting to make sense. We've ditched the day trip idea and embraced the multi-day island hopping adventure, maybe in October, for that perfect weather and those awesome festivals. Ishigaki and Miyakojima are on our radar, and we've got a better idea of how much it might cost. But before we get too far ahead of ourselves, let's hear from our listener. What are your thoughts so far? Any questions popping up? We'll be right back to continue our Okinawan adventure.
Welcome back, everyone. So much to talk about when it comes to Okinawa.
I know, right? It's like the more we dig into it, the more amazing it sounds.
Oh, absolutely. And remember how we were talking about the Ryukyu culture earlier?
Yeah, that unique blend of influences.
It's fascinating how Japanese, Chinese, and Southeast Asian cultures all kind of came together in Okinawa.
Yeah, it created something totally unique.
Totally. You see it in the traditions, the architecture, even the food.
Like that goya champuru. Still not sure about that bitter melon, though.
It's an acquired taste, for sure. But hey, speaking of island hopping, we need to keep that travel time in mind.
Yeah, you're right. Even though those islands are close to the main island, those ferry rides can take a while.
They do. But hey, imagine yourself on that ferry, feeling the ocean breeze, knowing you're about to land on a whole new island.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. It's like the journey's part of the adventure.
Exactly. But it's all about balance, right? Do we want to see as much as possible, or do we want to really immerse ourselves in each island?
That's a good question. I'm starting to think maybe it's better to focus on one or two neighboring islands and really experience them.
I think you're right. Quality over quantity, as they say. So remember how we were talking about October being a good month to go because of the weather and the festivals?
Yeah, October seemed like the sweet spot.
Well, do you think that still holds true if we're adding in those neighbor islands?
That's a good point. Our sources didn't really give us specific weather details for all the islands.
No, they didn't. But we know Okinawa in general has pretty nice weather in October. Typhoon season's over, the temperatures are good.
Right. So it stands to reason that the other islands probably have similar weather patterns.
Probably. But it's always a good idea to check those up-to-date forecasts as you get closer to your trip, just in case.
Definitely. Don't want to get caught in a downpour, especially if we're planning on spending time on those beaches.
Exactly. So we're sticking with October for now, fingers crossed for sunshine. But those festivals you were talking about, especially that Naha Atsunehiki festival.
Oh yeah, the one with the rope pulling. Tell me more about that.
It's amazing. We're talking a rope over 100 meters long, weighs tons, thousands of people pulling on it from east to west Naha.
What? No way!
Way! Giant tug of war. It's this incredible display of energy and community spirit. There's music, cheering crowds, the whole thing.
I can only imagine. Think we'd stand a chance against those Okinawan teams.
Huh. Maybe not. But even just watching it would be an experience. And don't forget about the Shuri Castle Festival.
Right, the one with the processions and costumes.
Exactly. Imagine those rhythmic drums echoing through the streets, all those vibrant colors.
Like stepping back in time.
It is. Okay, so we've got our cultural fix, we've got our island adventures, but let's be real. How much is all this Okinawa magic going to set us back?
Yeah, we talked about the budget a bit, but let's break it down some more.
Okay, let's do it. So accommodation, we know that can range from budget-friendly to pretty pricey.
Right, depending on if we want those fancy resorts or not. But what about food? We can't forget about all the delicious Okinawan meals we'll be having.
Absolutely. Fresh seafood, local flavors, maybe even some more Goya champuru for you.
Maybe not the Goy Champuro. But seriously, how much should we budget for food each day?
Well, from what we've seen, you could spend anywhere from like $4 to $9 per meal.
Okay, that seems pretty reasonable. What about getting around? We'll be doing a lot of exploring, plus those trips between islands.
Transportation is definitely something to keep in mind. Local buses are a good way to save money. They usually cost around $2 to $4 per ride.
Okay, that's not bad.
Taxis are more convenient, but they'll be more expensive.
Okay.
And then, of course, you've got the inter-island ferries.
Right, those ferries.
Yeah, for those, you're looking at somewhere between $10 to $30 per trip, depending on how far you're going.
Okay, so we've got food, we've got transportation. What about activities? Like entrance fees to places, or snorkeling trips, or maybe even, I don't know, a cooking class to learn how to make Goya champuru.
All great ideas. For activities, you can probably expect to spend another $4 to $9 per person per activity.
So that could add up.
It could. Of course, if you're into scuba diving or want to do something like a private boat tour, that'll be more expensive.
Makes sense. Okay, so with all those expenses in mind, give us a realistic daily budget for this Okinawan adventure.
All right, taking everything into account, I'd say a reasonable daily budget for Okinawa could be anywhere from 45 ties to $180 per person.
Wow, that's quite a range.
It is. If you're on a tight budget, you can totally make it work. Choose budget-friendly accommodations, use the local buses, enjoy the free stuff like the beaches and hiking trails.
But if you want those luxury resorts and those splurge-worthy activities, you'll need to adjust that budget accordingly.
Exactly. It all comes down to your style and what's important to you. The great thing about Okinawa is it really does offer something for everyone, no matter what your budget is.
I love that. So in this deep dive, we've talked about those amazing neighboring islands. We've figured out that October might be the best time to go. We've crunched some numbers. Most importantly, I think we've gotten everyone excited about Okinawa.
We have. And now it's your turn, listeners, to take all this information and start planning your own Okinawan adventure.
Which island are you most drawn to? What experiences are at the top of your list?
There's no one right way to do Okinawa, so do your research, plan it out, get excited.
And when you finally get there, breathe in that fresh island air, feel the warmth of the Okinawan sun.
And know that you've started a journey that will stay with you long after you've left.
So true. All right, everyone, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Okinawa. We'll catch you next time. Okay, we're back, ready to wrap things up. I gotta say, I'm already feeling those island vibes. Sand between my toes, that warm Okinawan sun.
It's hard to resist, isn't it?
It is. But how do we turn this island-hopping dream into a reality? We talked about Ishigaki with that incredible Kabira Bay, and Miyakojima with those amazing beaches like Yonohamahama.
So many beautiful places to choose from. Have you started picturing yourself on one of those islands yet?
Oh, yeah. I'm thinking snorkeling in crystal clear water,
Yeah.
surrounded by all those colorful fish and coral reefs.
Sounds amazing.
It does. But we also talked about pacing ourselves.
Yeah.
We don't want to be stuck on a ferry the whole time.
Right. It's all about balance. Maybe spend a few days on each island, really get a feel for the place.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Wake up to the sound of the ocean, spend the day hiking to a scenic viewpoint, try some amazing local food.
And end the day with a beautiful sunset over the East China Sea.
Perfection. But okay, back to reality for a sec. We're thinking October might be the best time to go with the weather and those festivals, but are there any downsides to traveling during that time? Anything we should be aware of?
Well, October is a pretty popular time to visit Okinawa, so yeah, you might run into bigger crowds.
Yeah, that makes sense. Especially around those festivals and the popular spots.
Exactly. But it can also be kind of fun to be surrounded by all that energy and excitement.
Yeah, true. A little hustle and bustle can be part of the travel experience. Okay, so we've got a potential month picked out. We've got our islands. We even have a pretty good idea of the budget. What's next?
Now comes the fun part, the details. What kind of accommodations are we thinking? A fancy beachfront resort? a cozy guest house tucked away in a village.
Oh, choices. It's almost overwhelming, but in a good way. It's like we've got this treasure chest full of options, and now we get to pick and choose.
That's what travel is all about, isn't it? Creating an experience that's perfect for you. There's no right or wrong way to do it.
I love that. So are we more into adventurous stuff like scuba diving and hiking, or are we all about relaxing on those beautiful beaches and soaking up the island vibes?
Yeah, what kind of adventure are we looking for?
This deep dive has been amazing. We started out thinking about a quick day trip, and now we've uncovered a whole world of possibilities.
It's incredible how one little idea can lead to so much. We've explored those neighboring islands, talked about when to go, crunched some numbers, and I think most importantly...
We've got that travel bug going.
Exactly.
Now it's your turn, listeners. Take all this info and start planning your own Okinawa adventure. Which island is calling your name? What experiences are at the top of your list?
Remember, there's no one-size-fits-all approach. Do some research, plan it out, and get excited for your trip.
And when you finally get there, take a deep breath of that fresh island air. Feel that warm Okinawan sun.
And know that you've embarked on a journey that will stay with you long after you've gone home.
Beautifully said. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Okinawa. We'll see you next time.